be round here somewhere, that Riddlestone must. Why can't you look harder, Tiddler?
I'm looking as hard as I can.
Well, you're not looking hard enough, are you? Haven't spotted it yet.
Well, neither of you.
Yeah, well, it's dark, isn't it? I can't see so well in the dark as I can in daytime, and that's a fact.
I know that. That's why I'm having difficulty finding the Riddlestone.
Oh, excuses. Well, I don't... Ah!
Oh, Mossop.
What's that? Ah! I found it. I knew I'd be the first to spot it. I've got good eyes, I have.
But Mossop, you didn't spot it. You tripped over it.
Ah, well, it comes to the same thing, doesn't it? Any road up, we've got it, and that's what counts. Here, and what's this next to it?
It looks like a lamp.
A lamp? Would you listen to her? Don't be silly, Tiddler. Use your brains. Of course it's not a lamp. Hasn't got a plug.
Well, I don't think all lamps have plugs.
Of course they have, Tiddler. There's two things you can be sure of about lamps. One is they're dangerous, so you shouldn't play with them. And t'other is they've all got plugs. No, it's not a lamp.
Well, what is it then?
Well, I think it's some sort of vase or something, isn't it?
Oh. Well, whatever it is, it's lucky it wasn't smashed when the Riddlestone fell out of the sky. Otherwise, there'd be broken glass all over the garden.
True enough, Tiddler, true enough.
Oh. Well, what shall we do with it?
Well, we'll leave it where we found it, I think. Can't be any use to anyone if they've left it lying all over the garden. Oh, and for the sake of any ignorant Tiddler who happens by and doesn't know what it is, there. It's a vase. Good. Hey up. That's odd.
What is?
There aren't any lights on in Marjorie's house. Now, what's she doing without her lights on at night?
Well, she may have gone to bed.
Nonsense, Tiddler. It's far too early for her bedtime. Come, we must look into this. Marjorie!
Yes?
Whoa! By heck, Marjorie, you gave us a shock. What are you doing sitting here in the darkness?
We haven't got any choice, Mossop. The electricity is off.
Yeah, we think there must be a power line down somewhere.
What does that mean?
Well, power lines, you've seen them. Sort of cables stretched high above the fields and attached to those big tall pylons.
Oh, yes.
Well, you see, they carried electricity down to towns and villages like ours.
And if the power lines are down for any reason, and I think it might have been that shower of Riddlestones that did it, then the electricity can't get through. And that means none of the electrical things in the house are working. The fridge is off, television's off, and so are all the lights.
And you're left in the dark, eh? Well, if the Riddlestones were the reason why you haven't got any light, perhaps a Riddlestone could provide some. Where's that one of yours? Oh, there it is. Right. Ease up. Ah.
Well, will you look at that? I've never seen light coming from a stone before. That's wonderful, that is.
That's not all Riddlestones can do, Mr. Grimley. They can tell stories as well.
Ah, Aesop's foibles, to be precise. Would you like to see how they work?
Oh, I most certainly would.
Well, all you have to do is this. Just see if you can spot the moral in this, Tiddler, eh? Aesop, tell us a story, do.
Once, there was a mother Riddler and her 3 little Tiddlers who lived in a cornfield. It was an unusual sort of place for Riddlers to live, and they found the corn a bit tickly at times. But they didn't mind that too much, because it's fun being tickled. One morning, around harvest time, Mother Riddler gathered her Tiddlers around her and said, "Pretty soon now, the human folk will be coming to cut the corn, and before that happens, we must leave this field and find ourselves a new place to live." The Tiddlers were sad, because they loved their cornfield home. But they knew that it's not a lot of fun being harvested. So they said that they'd listen carefully to everything the farmer said and find out when the harvest was due to begin. Around mid-morning, he came to the field with his son. "The corn is just about ripe," the farmer said. "Tomorrow we must get our neighbours together and harvest it." That evening, the Tiddlers told their mother what the farmer had said. "We'd better leave tonight," they urged her. "The farmer and his neighbours will be here in the morning." "Oh, there's no rush," replied Mother Riddler. If he's relying on his neighbours to help him, you can bet your boots it'll be a while yet before that corn is cut. She was right, of course, as most mothers are. No harvesters arrived the following day, but the farmer came again with his son. By now, the corn was so ripe that it was beginning to fall to the ground. "We can't wait for our neighbours and relations to help us," the farmer told his son. "We must do the job ourselves. The harvest starts tomorrow." That evening, the Tiddlers told their mother exactly what the farmer had said. "That's it then, time to move on," said Mother Riddler. "When a human person decides to do something for himself instead of leaving it to other folk, then he really does mean to get it done." So that evening, the Riddler family packed up all their belongings, said a fond farewell to the cornfield, and set off to find a new home. And bright and early the next morning, the farmer and his son arrived to cut the golden corn.
Good. Now, oh, drat.
What's happened?
I forgot. When the Riddlestone has given up its story, it goes out. Well, never mind. Look, Tiddler, can you tell us what lesson Aesop was trying to teach us?
She's got to learn the moral from 12 of these Aesop's foibles, Mr. Grimley. And then Tiddler will be a full Riddler.
I hope I get it right. I think the moral is that the only sure way of getting something done is to do it yourself.
Very good, Tiddler. Very well explained. Very illuminating. Which is more than can be said for that Riddlestone. We'll get no more light out of that, and that's a fact.
Oh, well, we'll just have to wait for the electricity to be switched back on again.
Ah, that's where you are wrong, Marjorie. I think we should learn a lesson from that there Aesop's foible.
He's right, you know. We must make our own light. How are we going to do that, then?
With candles, Mr. Grimley.
We haven't got any candles, Mossop.
You may not have, Marjorie, but Tiddler and I do. Just stay there.
We always use candles to light our well. We don't have any electricity down there, you see.
Well, right now, I'd say that candles were a much more reliable way of lighting a place than electricity.
Ah, there we are.
It's not very big, is it?
No, but don't worry about that, Mr. Grimley. Burn for a long time, do Riddler candles, much longer than human folks.
Do they, Mossop? I didn't think they were any different from any other candles.
Quiet, Tiddler. Now, who's got a match?
Thank you. There we are.
There you are, light at last. Like old Aesop taught us, if you want something doing, do it yourself. If you wait for others to help you out, you may have to wait forever. If you want a thing doing without any doubt, there's only one plan that's clever. You know what that is, don't you?
Do it yourself. Do it yourself. Don't leave a thing for other folk to do. Do it yourself. Do it yourself. The person most reliable is you. Do it yourself. Do it yourself. Your own two hands are what will see you through. Though you may get tired and heated, you will get the job completed. If you'll only do it, you do it, you do it yourself.
The answer is self-reliance.
That's right. Do it yourself. Do it yourself. It's the only way to get a task achieved. Do it yourself. Do it yourself. And you won't have any cause to feel aggrieved. Do it yourself. Do it yourself. You will do things better than you have believed. You will have no need to frown. You will never feel let down. If you only do it, you do it, you do it yourself.
If you'll only do it, you do it, you do it, you only do it, you do it, you do it, you do it,
Only
you
do it, you do it, you do it yourself.
Oh dear, would you look at that? You just can't rely on anything nowadays. Just typical of human folks' candles, that is. No life in them at all.
Mossop, that was a Riddler candle.
This sort of candle that lasts much longer than human folks' candles. Or so you say.
All right, Tiddler, all right, thank you very much. I do not need to be reminded of what I did or did not say, thank you. I've got more important things to think about. Like how are we going to make some more light?
Tell me, Marjorie, are there any other sort of lamps apart from electric ones?
Oh, yes. There are oil lamps, for example.
What do they look like?
Well, they generally have metal at the bottom that the oil goes in, and then there's a glass funnel at the top, and there's a wick inside that, a bit like the wick of a candle, I suppose. And you light the wick, and that burns the oil, and that gives off the light.
Just a minute. I've got an idea.
Hey, where's she gone now?
I'm sure it was around here somewhere.
I spy with my little eye something beginning with D.
Darkness.
Correct.
My turn. I spy with my little eye something beginning with... D.
Darkness?
Yes, correct.
My turn. I spy with my little eye something beginning with D.
You got me there, I'll give in.
Look!
Oh, well done, Tiddler. Where did you find that?
Mossop and I found it out in the garden.
What are those flowers doing in it?
Mossop put them there so that any tiddler who found it would know it was a vase. It is an oil lamp, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I wonder if it's still working. Is there any oil in it, Mossop? No, be careful, Mossop.
Don't worry. Yes, there is.
You mean there was?
Oh, yes.
Oh, Mossop!
Oh, well. Can't be helped. Never mind.
It looks as if we'd be stuck in the dark until the electricity comes back on.
No, we will not, Tiddler. There's still one thing we haven't tried. Riddler magic.
I hardly think magic's the answer to our problem.
Don't you be too sure, Mr. Grimley. Wonderful stuff is Riddler magic. It never fails. Well, not very often, anyway. Quiet, please, everybody. Lights on. Please. Oh.
Here, wait a minute. It looks as if the electricity is back on. There's some lights on over there. And the lights are on in my house too. Well, why aren't there any on in here then?
Because I haven't done my magic yet.
Your magic, Marjorie? What do you mean?
I mean this. Lights on. The switch wasn't down, you see.
Well, thank goodness we've got the electricity back.
Don't thank goodness, Mr. Grimley. Thank me. It was my magic that brought it back.
No, the electricity people must have fixed the cable. It can't have been your magic. Could it?
Who knows, Mr. Grimley? Who knows?